how this works. Jesus Christ. What's good, everyone? It's Johnny Lim, the backpacking biologist, the hot chocolate Asian, your Sherpa to the natural world. And I'm here in Washington State, Eastern Washington. I'm going to be hiking up to Peat Lake, maybe Spectacle Lake. That's going to be, if I make it to Spectacle, it's going to be 9 miles one way, so 18 round. If I go to Peat only, it's going to be around 9 miles round trip. And I say maybe because check out all the snow. There's a lot of snow right now, and I have the gear. I have micro spikes, I have gaiters if need be, but it just really depends on the conditions. You know, if it's too snowy and I can't really make it to Spectacle, then I'll probably just stay at Peat. But regardless, I'm super excited. I'm gonna be camping in the snow. It's hard to talk because my lips are so slow. Such is life, baby. Let's hit it. It is an absolutely gorgeous day, not windy, not a cloud in the sky. You know, there's a lot of snow, or I should say ice on the ground. And it probably snowed 2 days ago because it's pretty tough. It's definitely ice compact. That means it's been melting and drying throughout the days. And I don't need micro spikes yet, so it's been pretty manageable. You know, I never used to hike with trekking poles before, but oh my God, it's so much easier. I mean, like, it's like having another pair of legs. It's easier to balance, easier to cross rivers and streams, especially in the snow. I think it's a must. Shorter hikes, probably not, but hey, you know, like, I'm joining the club. I'm sipping on the Kool-Aid. Let's do it. So as I continue to hike, I notice my nose starts running. Kind of reminds me back in the day when we have PE class on run day, and we'd have to run on a cold day. And whenever you run on a cold day or do any kind of exercise on a cold day, you notice your nose starts running. Well, a lot of people think that's snot. It actually isn't. It's snot. It is actually water. So think about this. All right, your body is really warm. Your nose is really warm. And as you breathe in the air, the water in the air condenses in your nose. Just like if you were to breathe on a piece of cold glass, right? The water condenses. So the more you exercise, the warmer you become, the more water condenses in your nose. It just turns into water and starts dripping down. So, a little salty, but ain't gonna kill you. All right, I'm about 3 miles in, and it's been quite a breeze. Honestly, it's been really easy. It hasn't been too, steep of an incline. I'm starting to reach an incline now, which is why I'm breathing a little hard. But I mean, just the snow is nice. It's a hard pack, so I'm not like sinking in. I don't need my gaiters, or I don't need my micro spikes just yet. So I'm not really slipping and sliding, but making good time. Really, it's just so beautiful out here. It's like magical. The sun's coming up, and the snow on the trees that are stuck on the needles, they start melting as the sun comes up. So now it's almost like it's like a light rain. It's almost like it's snowing. All right, I've made it. I'm here at Peat Lake. Peat Lake. And is this not tranquil? First things in order. Number one, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat. Number two, we need to find firewood. Now, it's been snowing, it's been raining, it's cold, it's moist. That's gonna be the challenge, and I'm gonna show you how to find firewood and how to start a fire out here. Number three, we're gonna set up camp. And then number four, maybe, if I'm feeling it and I have enough time, I'm gonna see if I could hike to the next lake. Oh, it's so good. Ramen has to be, it's not the perfect food, but it is a perfect food. I think there's a lot of things that are perfect out there. There's some songs that are perfect. I think this ramen is a perfect food. So you can see the people before me tried to make a fire, but what they use bark. Come on now, bark. This may have worked. It looked like it was on, and cool. It left me trash as well, right? As you can see, they probably had a hard time making a fire that night, and I hope they were cold. I hope they were cold and wet and miserable, leaving all this trash behind. The reason why the bark didn't light up for them is because most pine bark is fire resistant, right? It has to protect the tree against fire, because fires run rampant around pine forests. So you don't want to rely on pine bark to actually light a fire. And especially in a wet forest like this, that bark is going to be soaking wet. So you actually want to avoid it. And there are a few barks that you do want to find that will help you with a fire. One would be birch, if you can find it. The other would be cedar, if you can find it. But in this kind of weather, what I want to be looking for are something called dead standing trees. A dead standing tree is a tree that's dead, that's standing. Simple, right? But why they are important, why you need to use them is because, I mean, if you look on the ground and look at any other wood that's been sitting there, what is it doing? It's absorbing snow, absorbing the water. It's absorbing all this moisture, and it's going to be so much harder to light. You know, we call that punky wood. Punky is when it's like saturated, and that's when it starts breaking down. That's when fungi gets in. That's when bacteria gets in, right? And you're not going to be able to use that wood. But what happens when a tree is dead and left standing, it hasn't fallen over? Well, when it's standing, you know, the snow may stay on it, the rain may stay on it, but as soon as the sun comes up, it evaporates the snow, evaporates the rain, or the rain just sloughs off, and then the core of the tree is still dry. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to find some dead standing trees. We're going to cut them down. We're going to open them up, and inside it's going to be dry. We're use that as kindling. We're going to use that all the things that we need, and it's going to be a process. Honestly, it takes, I don't know, at least an hour. It's going to take work, you know. That's why these people probably failed, because they were lazy, and you can tell they were lazy because they left their trash. So I hope they were cold. I really hope they were cold, miserable. So this is a good example of a dead standing tree. Right, it's dead, I believe. Let me double check. I just cut through it. It's dry on the inside. All the leaves are dead. That's the one we're looking for. So what you want to do, get your trusty saw, cut her down. All right, so I've cut all my wood. Now I have to cut them into smaller pieces with a technique called batoning. I'll show you what that looks like. Let's use this guy. This one has a lot of knots in it, but I should be able to get through with this knife. If not, then we'll try a different piece of wood. But essentially, you need a fixed blade knife. This one's about, well, it says 154 centimeters. I don't know what that's going to be. It looks like 5.5 inches of cutting edge. We're going to put it up here. And we're just going to get a stick, a thick stick. Put an initial hit to have it stuck in there. And then we just hit it all the way through. And this is why you need a fixed blade knife, because you are going to be beating the hell out of it. Okay. So we got a little piece, and the inside is dry. We'll put that in the dry pile. And that was a little tough because we had to get through an old branch right here, right? So carpentry, we call that a knot. Smells good. We just go around. We just want to have a pile of these. And this is what's important to start the fire right from the get-go. And then the bigger pieces are there to keep the fire going. And remember, we're doing this to expose the dry inner core. All right, for these fatter pieces, we don't want to try to cut it in half. I mean, if we had a hatchet, I'd be able to do it. But what we want to do is transect it. Get little pieces of the side. And then just keep on going around and around. See, it's a knot right here. I'm not gonna even bother. Now, if you had too short of a knife, you see there'd be a problem, because this, you need some like real estate over here. If this was too short, you'd have nothing to hit on this side. So you need at least, I'd say 5.5 inches, 5 inches on a knife. Fixed blade for batoning. So this technique is called feather sticking. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that piece of core from that tree I cut down, and I'm making slices into it to make these like feathery tabs. And those tabs are really thin, and when I put them into a fire, it could be a small fire, it doesn't even matter. They're gonna light up, and it's going to light up the main piece of log as well. So this is a good technique if you want to get a fire started. I do it pretty much every time I get a fire. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting the core into smaller pieces, kind of like pencil width. And that's just so it can catch the fire a lot faster too. I mean, if you don't have smaller dry pieces, your fire is not going to catch. So you always want to make sure you have small pieces and then just gradually work your way up to thicker pieces. All right, it's getting cold, got the beanie on. Let's see if we can do this first try. What I want to do is set up the platform simply like that, right? 2 across that are eventually going to catch fire. So I'm going to cheat and be using one of these squares that is doused in fuel, and it should stay lit for I don't know, at least 3 minutes while I can get everything set up. Thing is, these sticks are still a little damp on the outside. So you have to make sure you work fast and get them on while there is a flame. Can you see me? There I am. So, fire's still going. Not gonna lie, it takes a lot of work to keep up a tiny little fire. I'm constantly blowing air into it, I'm constantly feeding it, and you know, probably it's gonna be like this all night. You know, and people often romanticize camping, you know, like, I make a fire, it's gonna be cool, you know, I chop some trees down, go hunting. Man, camping is work. All right, camping's a lot of work. Backpacking's work, but you know what? It pays off because you learn patience, you learn hard work, perseverance. You know, I mean, I'm putting myself in a position where, I mean, it's gonna be like 5 miles if I want to get back to my car to give up. Like, either I make it or I don't. And how often in life do we put ourselves in a position where it's either make or break? Right? I need this fire or else I'm gonna be freaking cold. My socks are kind of wet from my sweat. You know, so it had to work. You know, and oftentimes we're not doing too much of that in life. So there's a lot of life lessons that you can learn in camping, backpacking. Good morning, everyone. I had a good night's rest. It wasn't too cold. I was bundled up. But now I'm ready to head back to the car, ready to head back to civilization. And one more thing, whenever you go out and you see trash, just pick it up, yeah? I think it's very important to pick up other people's trash. The majority of people are really good about cleaning up after themselves. It's only like a handful. I mean, there's always going to be people out there that do that. There's always going to be people that throw away trash, that cut in line, that steal, that do these things. But the majority of people are good. Now, if we all did our part to pick up just one piece of trash when we go out, then, you know, nature would be cleaner. And I really want more people to be going out and backpacking and camping. I mean, that's my goal, right? And the byproduct of that is we're gonna have a lot more people trashing the place, which is sad, but I mean, I think it's just part of it, right? I mean, humans are humans. But I think the way to combat that is to have an overwhelming majority of people who pick up trash, of people who do good things, of people who, you know, are positive and help the world. So let's do it. Do your part. I'm doing mine.